This is Ohio.
This is Ohio.
Stories of the quietly heroic.
Jack, do you know who has a solution to homelessness?
No, who?
Just about everyone.
I see where you're going. Everyone has an answer, but all the answers are different.
It's really hard to wrap your head around.
I was thinking about this, and I see three general perspectives. People who want to ban the homeless from camping outside. They don't want them near their homes. They're worried about safety, about health.
Makes sense.
There are advocates for the homeless who say, well, where are they going to go?
And that's a good point.
And then there's the unsheltered.
Right.
In this story, we mostly talk to the unsheltered and get their perspective.
Because as we'll learn, they had a hard week. It's been a rough week for the unsheltered in Newark, Ohio. Jack and I stopped by the Newark Homeless Outreach on Saturday morning to see how folks are doing.
Yes, and the people need to vote. Not 6 or 7 people don't need to decide the fate of people.
Trish Perry, one of the directors of the outreach, is passing around a petition. It's a reaction to an ordinance passed 5 days earlier by the Newark City Council, 7-1, basically a camping ban. The ordinance is the second of its kind passed in Ohio since the Supreme Court's Grants Pass decision, which ruled that cities can punish people for sleeping outside in public places. Trish and her group want to bring the question to a referendum of the general public, but first they have to get enough signatures from registered voters.
I mean, I have a Newark address with a zip code, but I am...
Yeah, but if you got to be able to vote on the mayor election.
Okay.
So, yeah.
The Newark Homeless Outreach, located on a corner in East Newark, open every Saturday, is the lowest barrier service in the city. No questions asked, food, clothing, Narcan, and other basic services available. It's a good place to connect with the unsheltered. Gary sidles up to us when he sees our microphone. All names in the story are pseudonyms. The other reason this has been a tough time for the homeless is that a large encampment was just destroyed off 2nd Street. We asked Gary if that had an effect on him. Is that going to affect you?
Not really. I don't really camp with everybody, you know what I mean? I say to myself, that way I don't get a bunch of attention drawn.
Yeah.
Because like, when they camp together like that, it don't do anything but draw a bunch of attention.
Yeah. Why do people camp together like that?
For like safety, security, you know what I mean? Because we all look out for each other. It's just that some of us don't clean up like we should, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Have all the styrofoam, all the trash, and then that draws the city's attention. Everybody wants to help the homeless till we show up, you know what I mean? Yeah, well, it's because it's not like we're not trying to get housing, you know what I mean? It's not like we want to be homeless. It's just like you either got to pass a urine screen to stay in a shelter, or you got to have like kids to get a housing voucher, you know what I mean? It's like most of us don't fit all the requirements, you know what I mean? Or like if they put you into like an apartment, you can't have like any felonies or any drug convictions, you know what I mean? So that shuts a lot of people up. Right. Stuff like that. Or if you're a couple, you know what I mean? A lot of the people are like the same-sex couples.
Right.
And they frown upon that. Like they're not going to come right out and say that's not why they're giving them the housing, but that's why they're not giving them the housing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, the new ordinance, you seem to have a good sense and workaround, but how do you think that might affect the general homeless population?
It's probably going to screw them up, like, because they don't understand they're not supposed to be on public ground, you know what I mean? A lot of people that are homeless are like illiterate or got a mental disability, and people don't know it. They just think, they're high on drugs or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you said that people get together for safety, but now they're not going to want to do that because...
Well, there's always like a group, 5 or 6 people that always camp together and move together. You know what I mean? So it's going to be the same group, just somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're trying to like cut out all the spots, but that's not helping. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just wasting tax money.
What would help?
Probably like a shelter that didn't require, like a, I don't know, like a place where we could, like a warming center, I guess, you know what I mean? Where we could go to like charge our things, stuff like that, to where, like if we was smoking marijuana or something, we wouldn't get harassed by it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That probably helped a lot, that law passing.
Back at the tables, Trish is still passing around the sign-up sheet. Kathy comes up through the line and gets a warm greeting from Trish.
How's it going, hon?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay.
Hanging in there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all we can do, really. So, are we signing a petition on unfairness?
Are you a registered voter
Yes,
for
I am.
Newark?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
We ask how the ordinance will affect her.
Well, it'll affect me a lot because I'm out here in the streets and with my old man and my dog, and you know what I mean, and just having the dog to be allowed to go places, you know, to shower, to just do your daily necessity things, because he's very protective of me from when it was just me and him. You know what I mean? Like his dad was in prison or whatever, so he's very protective over his mom.
So you can't get in anywhere.
Yeah, because he's also he doesn't like other dogs unless they're girl dogs, you know what I mean? But, and most places don't allow you in with a dog that is other dog aggressive, even if you keep them on a short leash. So that and the vertical's already been closed because of people using drugs or whatever on the property after hours, after they were closed. And the neighbors had complained enough to where they got it closed down.
The Vertical was a resource for unsheltered that offered food, showers, and a place to charge their devices 5 days a week, just the kind of place Gary was asking for. The directors did not give an official reason for shutting it down, though one person in the helping community suggested a lack of volunteer help might have been the reason. Kathy describes herself as self-medicating for bipolar disorder. She talks about how systems work in the same way Gary did, especially the obstacles for services.
Well, mine personally, I had 9 marijuana charges before they legalized marijuana. Okay. And because of that, I could never get any low-income anything. And just now it's legalized, and I mean, it's a medication. It's a form for a lot of things, you know what I mean? And now that they've legalized it, I could probably get in there, but now my kids are grown. So you know what I mean? Like, and to fall on that without, because I'm normally working, and I'm in the process of moving and don't know what woods to move my shit to, because they just tore down 2nd Street, the one place that was a safe zone for all homeless.
Could you explain what a safe zone is?
A safe zone is like where the cops can't come touch you. It was a eagle viewing area, but I know that they went through there with a backhoe and tore everything up, and then they passed that law with the homelessness.
So it's hard to hold a job because it's just hard to do.
Yeah, because where are you gonna go present yourself? You can't go to work stinking and smelling like BO, you know what I mean? And like to have a place to clean your clothes and not have to jump through like crazy obstacles in order to do laundry or something, and then going and getting laundry detergent, bleach and stuff, and then getting somewhere to do it. Like it's $30 at the laundromat. You know what I mean? Like, ah.
In the Grants Pass ruling, Justice Gorsuch, writing for the 6-member majority, the conservative bloc of the court, said that judges do not have any special competence to decide how cities should address homelessness. Justice Sotomayor, in her dissenting opinion, said that the majority decision focused on the needs of cities, but not on the needs of the most vulnerable citizens of those cities. She said this decision leaves a homeless person with an impossible choice: either stay awake or be arrested. Creating restrictions, you can't sleep here, like where are you going to sleep?
Who knows? Who knows?
But you got to sleep somewhere.
Yeah. Or go to jail. That's our options these days.
In the discussion of the Newark City Ordinance, one member of the City Council, Bill Cost, wrestled honestly with this difficult balance, the needs of the city and the needs of the most vulnerable.
The solution is still not jail. It's just not. So we are better. We are a better community than that, and we have to work harder. I don't want anybody to say that any of us gave up, because that's how I feel. I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but that's how I feel. I feel like we're saying we give up, take him to jail. I can't look myself in the mirror and do that. That's not how I was raised. I was raised that it was not a crime to be poor. I was raised that it's not a crime to be homeless. Now, I'm not saying there aren't criminal things that go on, and they do, and and they're out of here. I also understand that they don't want them on public property camping. I understand they don't want them on private property camping. So that doesn't leave much. So I guess the next solution to look at then was jail, and I just can't accept that as choice C.
It's hard to see how this ends. The representatives of the city have the power to protect their best interests. Many of their constituents do worry for their safety, but the most vulnerable aren't going anywhere. In fact, demographic projections in the county predict that their numbers will grow. This is a challenging story to report on. I see people fall into polarizing positions, and I don't want to facilitate that. As Bill Cost says, when we look for another option, something besides jail, something besides random camping on public and private property, we don't see much, but there must be something. I live in Newark. Newark is my city. I see the renovations downtown, the preservation of historic buildings, and I understand the instinct to make the place as nice and as safe as it can be. I've also had a family member who was challenging. We had to create some tough boundaries. He wound up on the streets. I know how hard it is to manage those narratives. When I get home from talking with Gary and Kathy, my wife asks me, "How do you feel?" I feel compassion. I'm grateful for that. It may not be what's expected of a journalist, to be in a space of inaction, of not knowing, but it feels like something. This story was produced by Jack Schuler and Doug Swift.
And edited by Doug Swift.
This Is Ohio is funded by the Denison University Research Foundation.
Music by Matt Jackford.
To see a multimedia version of this story, and to hear and see more great stories about those living quietly heroic lives,
You can go to our website at This Is Ohio Podcast, or
visit the mothership at thereportingproject.org.
you can also find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
See you next time.
See you next time.